What's good, everybody? You know what time it is? It's time for Elevated Vibes right here on IntellectualRadio.com, our iHeart radio station. Now to jump into this conversation, the number to call is 708-223-8953, or you can hit us up on Facebook Live. Now, we're going to talk about a couple things that, well, mainly one, but we're just going to touch on a little bit that what happened today. And you all can either, shoot a message through Facebook or give a call about it. Donald Trump was here in Chicago at the National Association of Black Broadcasters, if I'm saying it correctly, and partially in a certain outlook, it's a journalistic thing, and the other outlook, because of the individual who it is. Personally, I feel that the association made a mistake in my book. I don't know, Mr. Evans, if you were able to check it out.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not check it out.
Okay, well, definitely, you take your time, you get a chance. I'll even send you the YouTube link on it.
Mhm.
But the fact is, the Republican nominee, the former president, as usual, because he tries to engulf everything, he does not become presidential. When you being a president or you want to be president, you have to act in a presidential way. And we all know he's uncorked,
Mhm.
but he definitely was in another light. And so, like I said, I implore y'all want to get with us on that, definitely hit us up through Facebook Live or give us a call at 708-223-8953.
So do you think that the group should have allowed him to speak, or do you think that he was? Well, I believe we both believe that he was being disingenuous, whatever he was talking about, right? But so, do you think that the group that invited him to speak was
Well,
in the wrong?
I see what they were doing. They were being journalists.
Right.
So they were, doing what a journalist does, bring both sides to a situation and, bring it out to the people and let the people decide for themselves.
Mhm.
But with certain individuals, and you know how certain individuals are, I just don't think that was the right move, regardless of them attempting to do the right thing. So,
Well, I gotta say, I don't blame him. Trump can get on any platform that he wants in the United States.
I'll
He can
give
get
him
on
that.
MSNBC. He can get in on CNN. He can get in on Fox. I mean,
Mhm.
I can't name a platform. Even The View, he can probably get on The View.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't blame him. That probably raised their profile a lot.
Well,
Got them some. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it didn't put them on a little bit on the map, but the view that it put them in, that's the whole other side of everything. Yeah, it put them out there, and they probably are a lot more known internationally and so forth. So we're not knocking that point, but look at the view that you got.
Mhm.
That's the whole other side. Something like that, I'd rather be quiet. I'm not
So,
gonna lie.
are you telling me that if Donald Trump wanted to come on this show, you wouldn't allow it?
Well, he and I will be in one of the worst arguments on the planet. You probably have to have the Secret Service in here
I'm sure they
because,
would be.
yeah,
I'm
because
sure they would
if
be.
he think he's gonna try to control me like that, I'm gonna call him everything under the sun. So this gonna go real quick from a family show to definitely a cable, or a streaming
Yeah,
show, because
I
yeah,
hear that.
it ain't gonna be pretty,
Right.
not at all. And you got to give I'm gonna give a young lady her credit, Rachel Scott from ABC, because she was one of the moderators, and for her to hold her cool
Mhm.
but clap back at them in certain ways. I give her credit, you know. But nah, ain't no way in the world, man, bro. It would have been one, and yeah, I would have been under arrest. So there you go. All right, y'all. Let's get to the topic. Just had to throw that out there, but let's get to the topic. All right. November 6th. Yes, I said 6th. Now you remember you have to go and vote on the 5th. All right. November 6th, 2024, the day after. Yes, all the votes may not be counted, but you'll have a certain look to see who will be the next president of the United States. So the question we have today, the day after, what do we do? All right. That's the thing. And you know, hey, if y'all don't know our names, you don't remember, I am Abdul Rashid, and this is Mr. Timothy Evans. Now, I'm going to come at you right now, Tim. One of the first things you do if the Republicans win, or what would you set up? What would you get going? Because we all know once the voting is over, it's not over. The games actually begin and then, you know. So, what do you do if the Republican win? Come on.
Okay, so if the Republicans manage to win in November 6th, I would start thinking about getting prepared for a different kind of America, right? Because, like they say, authoritarian doesn't come in overnight. It comes in slowly, right? And this would be like the culmination of all the things that they put in place for the last, 50 years, right?
Yes, sir.
So their plan is set. If they can win in November, all those plans have done what they wanted to do, right? So that's definitely would be a red flag for me. I'll make sure I would make sure my passport is up to date. I'll make sure my family's passport is up to date.
So you making a run for the border, huh?
Well, not immediately, not
Yes, sir.
immediately, right? But hey, I'm definitely thinking about it because when people start running, you're not going to be able to run. You're going to be right in the mix. You got to be on the ball, right? You got to be one of the first people out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So yeah, I'm not playing in that regard because I know how things can go. You may think it will go easy, but it can turn crazy real quick.
All right.
You know what I mean?
If it was turn crazy, all right. What would be, let's just say, your comeback? If things turn crazy, I'm not saying, I know you're going to the next level crazy, and I understand that. We all must pray that that does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what's some of the things that you may do to combat some of the things that are going to happen? In a civil manner.
In the civil manner. Well, I was thinking about this. Actually, I was thinking that at this point, all the civil remedies are already exhausted, right? We already did what we can do. Because, okay, so like I was saying, this plan has been in effect for so many years, right? You would have I don't think that I would wait for people to start getting arrested, and which he said he would try to do on day one. I don't think it's anything that can stop him from starting to arrest people, started investigating people, right? Because that's what his constituents want him to do. And when your side is getting arrested, right?
Yes.
You might think right now, oh yeah, I would do this, I would do that, I would go to this
But
organization and that organization, but I don't think that's a possibility at that point.
but okay, to them, and yes, within their so-called mandate for leadership, um, they're going to abolish and try to erase many laws.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, to do that, it's supposed stress that point, supposed to take time to abolish what law 1, law 2, law 3, whatever. It's not supposed to be something overnight, at least within our governmental system.
Mm-hmm.
So with a little bit of time, that you may have, what would you do civilly? Because I mean, yes, if it come down to it, you either got to run or you got to get together and fight. Let's keep
Yeah,
it,
yeah. Those are the only
let's
two
keep
options
it
right there.
let's keep it real.
Uh-huh.
There's no other way. But before it gets to that point, and like I said, you got to tear these laws down. Supposedly,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you got to tear these laws down. It takes time. It's not supposed to go the next day. So while you have that time, what are some of the things that you would do to combat some of the things that that are going to come?
So you want to say, assuming that I have time to make decisions, like
Assuming, yes,
assuming that we have time.
let's make the assumption, and of course, let's not go with the analogy of making an assumption. We can't say certain words of that on the air, but let's make that assumption.
Okay, assuming that I have time to try to fight civilly,
Yes.
I would talk on the air like we're doing now about what's going on,
Mhm.
right? Also, I would start writing my senator. I would start. Well, I'm already going to community meetings, but I would be interested in if anybody changes the way they talk at these meetings,
Yes.
right? Because you always have people in the background that don't say anything until they get a little bit more powerful. Then their true feelings start coming out, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I'll
Right.
start
The
keeping my
guards are down, and now let me show you what my real thoughts are. I know what you
exactly.
mean.
I'll be listening a lot more.
Right.
I'll be paying a lot more attention to what's going on in the news, and definitely looking at what his administration is doing step by step.
Yes.
If I have the time, that's what I
If
would.
if you have the
If I
time,
have
and
the time.
even with these community groups, if you see that they're on more of not as ultra conservative and so forth, they're more on the freedom side.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it in that way. All right. Would you not try to, let's just hypothetically, get some of these groups together to possibly combat or grow to a bigger group to combat, you know, s- uh society such as the Heritage Foundation or the Federalist Society, by maybe boycotting, you some of their businesses, because a lot of what they do is a bunch of money, bunch of dark money and so forth. They're making that money somewhere,
Right.
you know. So would you not try to take that money from them, cut them off at the knees? Because mainly, if you actually, can accomplish something like that, that's what you'll be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Mhm.
If you can find businesses that exclusively supported Republicans and conservatives, and you can start boycotting them and hurting them financially, that might be a way to, um, get their attention. You know, um, right? So I mean, at that point, the strategies are very slim as far as I can tell. You know what I mean? The things that you can do are better um, and pretty much maybe the same if the Democrats win, right? To a lesser extent, right?
Yeah, and I was just gonna start to bring that up because yes, and hopefully this happens. We have a new president, Harris, and like I said previously, it doesn't stop there. Okay, and like I spoke about the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society, they've been going on for years. They've been building all this stuff for years, and okay, they lose another round, they're going to do nothing but work harder to get what they want. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's flip it. They win. What do you do? And on a civil matter, we're gonna put that out here right now.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna keep it civil.
All of this is like nonviolent. You know what I mean? It's
at this point, yes.
Yeah. And not even like on a personal level, because I wrote down a lot of stuff that I would do on a personal level.
Go ahead. Hey, bring that out too. Why not? Hey, we all may learn something. So
yeah.
Go with it.
So I mean, if the Democrats win, then I think we have to try to pressure the Congress, and trying to figure out how we got to this place. Because I think even if they do manage to win, I don't think they would try to address any of the issues. You know what I mean? That got us to this point.
Yeah,
right?
they gotta grow a little bit of guts, and they gotta yeah. No,
So,
I get what you're saying.
So I mean, it's still way too much money going into politics right now, right?
Yes,
unlimited amounts with donations and this PAC money and stuff. I don't think they're still, even if they do win, they will not look at trying to rectify that, the amount of money going into politics and influencing the way that they vote on certain
what
issues.
about a bigger now I was just going to say that. Now what about a bigger push going towards a third political party? Because see, right now we are stuck between the two, and there, I mean, of course you got other parties out there, but let's keep it real, they don't have the view out there, the push that of course the Democrat and the Republicans have, and maybe it's time on that fact that after all this is over, let's start looking at some of those parties, whoever may do something for us that we know is right and we've been knew it was right, and let's start getting behind some of them. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good idea. I don't think that it would happen because it would take too much money from them, and I think that they have a good thing going on.
But then ultimately the money's coming out of our pockets. I mean, yeah, it ends up going to theirs and doing what they do, and but ultimately it comes out of our pockets. And yes, we have the power with the vote, but we also have the power with the money, and a lot of times we slip up on that part. Because we'll support something or support a company that supports those that are against us only because some of their products may be a little bit cheaper,
right?
And we don't keep the conscience of who you're giving your money to. And then you can't complain when those you give your money to, and they ain't no good, but those you give your money to do what they do, and then yet you want to get mad at them.
Right.
You gave them the cash.
Right.
Like
certain companies using child labor or something like that, or certain companies.
I mean, whatever.
So
whatever.
So like for instance, when I talk about the money, right?
Yes, sir.
Say a certain president, after they get out of office, they start going around the world giving speeches to big banks, to big corporations, and they make maybe $10 million for a speech that they give. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money, right? And I don't know about you, but that looks like kind of corruption, because I was in charge of kind of not exactly legislating, you know, your business or, taxes and all of that stuff. But I had a big influence on what I was going to pass, uh, determining how your business was going to be run, like in the banking industry or in the airline industry. I have a big effect. And now when I get out of office, I can go to your company and just make, tens of millions of dollars per speech. That's kind of corrupt, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I know it's probably a loophole within that somewhere,
Yeah.
and but I mean, I would agree with you on that. That it it's corrupt, but we can possibly, you know, going through things such as the Freedom of Information Act, you know, we can find out about certain companies and where they lean, and they'll tell you straight out who they with and who they hope for and so forth. Back in the day, you to find that out from a company, it was like finding a needle in a haystack. But now they don't care,
Mm.
you know. And so saying that and being that, and we know this is what they do. Then, like with the community groups that you've been around, you know, it's up to them. It's up to you. It's up to them and everybody else to put a stop to it, saying, "Hey, I'm not going to shop here. I'm not going to. I'm not going to buy this tool or whatever from this place when I know what they represent and who they have favor to.
Hmm.
I may go to this other place. The other place may cost $5 more for, I don't know, a shovel. It may cost $5 more for that shovel, but at least I know it's going to them and not these other guys that they will use that $5 to come back later on and either try to put me in jail or tax me up to bejesus or whatever, So it's up to those groups, and like I'm saying, that they need to, look and go towards this information to find out about it, to put it out there for the people to know.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, either that or stop them from, taking money altogether from, these public or these corporate owned entities, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you can set limits on the amount of money coming into a campaign, right? You don't have to have it so that people can contribute. Uh, they can have a set amount that comes from the government, and that's all you get to run with, right? You gotta run within that amount, and uh nobody can donate to you.
But if I'm correct, and I'm not too sure with that, and y'all please correct me. I don't mind the correction.
Mm.
you know, Dealing with because you got these super PACs and all of that has gotten into a gray area
Mhm.
with the monies that's coming in. So that's the thing that needs to be exposed and put out so that people will know. And even with that, if you find out the truth, a lot of people may not donate to certain super PACs
Mm.
for those reasons. You know, you got to see. So, what else would you do, Democratic? If I'm sorry, yeah. What else would you do if Miss Harris wins?
Well, is she like I
What I
said?
mean, what else would you put out there to stop the comeback? Because you will get a comeback from
Mhm.
the right. What else would you do, or at least hope for, or at least hope that they will push for, and try to, get in somebody's ear within the government to push them towards it, that would help, you know, keep back some of the conservative right.
Hmm. So we have, like I said, we have 50 years to push back on, right? And I think that we got some
Yeah,
things.
we late to that game now, so we got to push back hard, and it can't take 50 years.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It should take us 50 years to do
Right.
it. But I mean, the things that we have to push back on are are things that they'll be hard to get because everybody is seeing it coming, right? And they'll be fighting us all the way, right? So you can say, okay, let's start putting term limits on the Supreme Court, right? That's one thing that she said that she would push for it, and Biden said that he was he was agreed with doing that. Yeah,
Going for it
he
as
was going to
well.
agree with
Yeah.
that. Um, you can strengthen the Voting Rights Act, right? She should be talking about that.
Yes.
She also should be talking about money in politics, and how they're going to get rid of all the money in politics and term limits. So I mean, it's a couple of things that she can hit right off the bat, right? Now whether she can do any of this, because I think most of her colleagues probably want these things to stay in place. I don't know
But
whether,
see,
and
the
maybe she doesn't even want to do it. I'm not sure.
yeah, but the thing is, because of the situation that we allowed the conservative party, the right wing conservatives, to do what they want, while a lot of times as Democrats we sat back and pretty much just watched.
Mm.
That's what put us in the situation in the first place. So if we do get that blessing, which I actually hope we do, that we do get that blessing and win in November, maybe some of the things that we've been talking about all the time, such as passing the George Floyd Act, John Lewis Act, and let's just guess and say reparations. You know, should that not be a strong push for that now? Because, like I said, we get this in November, they're going to be fighting extra hard to tear us down in 4 more years.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
And they ain't gonna tear us down just to keep us down that 4 years. They're gonna try to keep us down at least 20, 25 years. So,
Mm.
you know,
So I mean, okay. So how would you, if the Democrats do get into office in November, and you had to uh, push forward what you wanted for them to to do, right? Your agenda, or what you think is good to push forward. How would you get to the root of the problem that we see right now? Because I don't think we should even be in this kind of situation as a country, right? It's
yes,
like we're fighting for our life just to stay as a normal country, instead of going into some kind of authoritarian kind of situation, right? So it's gotta, like, they have been doing this for a long time. So
that's
it's a
correct.
root to this, it's a root to this problem, right?
Yes,
How do you get to the root of the problem?
they gave you a way to get to the root of the problem. They gave you actually 900 pages of a way to get to the root of the problem. All right. What is needed is that, and everybody's not going to sit here and read 900 pages of mess,
Mhm.
but you get groups or group together to do everything that they can to go through that mandate, the ninth edition of it, piece by piece, and see every counter offensive they can make towards that mandate.
Mm.
And then you push what you put together. This is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to push that because, see, they've been pushing it.
Mm.
That's why it's the ninth edition of their mandate. They've been pushing it since Reagan. We don't have that time because, like I said just a minute ago, they're going to come even harder. If they came and did what they did already here, and they've been doing different things with the Supreme Court and all that, with all that presidential immunity and all the other crap, they're gonna come even harder. So we gotta be ready.
Mm.
We gotta put these things together to be ready to combat against that, to make everything, well, hopefully make everything fair down the line.
Mhm.
You know, and like I said, still we also need, as people, not as the party, but as people, need to open up ourselves to some of these other parties to give you other choices out there. to not just give all the power in these, on these two sides. We've been doing that for so long, and look where it got us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I feel that's what definitely have to be done. All right, they need to sit down, get that together if they win, and we truly hope that they
Yeah,
do.
come up with their 900 so odd pages of what they want to do.
Yes,
Because it's easy for conservatives to just say, you know what we're gonna do? This is our whole plan. We just gonna go back and do what we did before, right?
right.
Whatever we think is the right
But they're going to
time
step it up.
period.
They're going to step it up,
Right.
though. So that's the
So
main thing.
if the liberals or progressives, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yes.
If they can't come up with this is what we want, right? We want everybody to have the same rights. We want, a clear separation between the government and church, and write their own progressive, um, own progressive kind of document, right? Then we'd just be playing defense, right?
Right.
We're just playing defense. We're not playing offense in this situation, right? And it's kind of bad that we don't play offense because even in the progressive and the liberal community, embedded is kind of conservative ideas, right?
Correct.
So you have conservatives saying, you know what, we don't want uh, guys who, with the trans situation, we don't want guys going into the women's bathroom, right? And you might have some Democrats say, "Oh yeah, that seems like a reasonable idea," right? But the fact that it barely happens, or the fact that you know it's a very very small percentage, and that they blow it up like it's the most important thing that's happening in this government at this time is crazy. Even when I have conversations, it may be an issue, right? But the issue is so minuscule, right? That it shouldn't even be on the radar like it is.
Yeah, one of the main things that they constantly do, when there's something like that and it's minuscule like that, they keep pushing it and yelling it so much
Right.
that they try to make people pay attention. And they know a lot of times, especially politically, people have a very short attention span. What we have to do is that as much as they yell, we have to yell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and not just yelling to be yelling, but yelling with truth. Because once you do that and you keep it up at the same rate of their stuff will go away because it has nothing to hold on to.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, okay, so take one of their issues, right? With the guys doing the child marriage in some of these states. It's like, oh, you can marry a 8-year-old. You know what I mean?
They still do that? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, they're still doing that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, go
So
ahead.
that's equally appalling to me
Right.
that, they still have laws in the state that will allow you to do that as long as you have the parent's signature and all of this stuff, right?
Okay.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
right?
I
We
agree.
know that, children don't have the psychological capacity to make a decision like that, right? But
Correct.
yet the conservatives still let that happen,
Correct.
right? So that should be all in the news. You know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with
It's
you.
still
'Cause
happening.
like I said, I didn't think they still did, but they
Yeah,
kept it
yeah,
out of it.
they're
So
still
there you
doing that.
go.
They just had
So
not too long ago. I remember they had I think it was maybe a state representative. He was
okay.
saying, he saw nothing wrong with that. Now
Wow.
I don't know which state. I want to say Missouri, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it freaked me out. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How do they have? How can they talk about anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And when they
agree.
don't look at some of
I agree with
the things that they are doing,
you.
you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes. It's like throwing stones from a glass house. But yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying.
yeah. I'm like, really? Yeah. So
And then another thing I do believe that, let's flip it back again. and let's say the cancer of America, the Agent Orange himself, um, gets back there in the White House. Besides some of the things that we've said, I do believe that as minorities, you know, on the whole spectrum of minorities, because, like I said, with the money, that's when you cut them off at the knees. When, you have to make some type of, let's just say, a legal subculture economically within those within the neighborhoods where
Mhm.
that it can save people some money. It can, allow people to live somewhat on how they were living before we got ourselves in this situation,
Mhm.
you know, till we can get ourselves out 4 years from now, you know. Do you agree on something on somewhat of that level? You know?
Like you're saying that on the community level.
Yeah, on the community level, some type of way economically
Hmm.
that's legal.
Hmm.
I'm stressing that point. That um we could push something that would make sure that the people within the communities, mainly minority communities and not of these ultra conservative groups,
Hmm.
you know, where that we can still stand on our own. Because everything within their Project 2025 and all that, it would tear us down so bad economically, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with
So
that.
we
That
need
was one of my things. I was like, okay,
we-
if yeah, if something like that happens, oh
yes.
yeah, you're gonna have to be self sufficient to an extent, right?
Right. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, that it would have to be pushed within the communities to do that. Now what? Only God knows.
right.
But
And is it reasonable to think that everybody's gonna start working with each other right away, or like we live in mixed communities, right? So is everybody gonna be on the same page with stuff? I would hope so. You know, but
well, when
mm,
the how they say, when the crap hits the fan, everybody feels it,
mhm.
you're gonna start looking that way.
or or they could start doing targets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, hey,
And
maybe if I show my sufficient loyalty to the leader, maybe I can get some benefits.
you always get some of them out there like that.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get folks like that, but you would, in hopes that you can exclude them,
Mhm.
and get everything else going on, then how can I say, that could be something that could be helpful to help us out somewhat. That's not the cure all, and it won't be. But at least if it keeps you moving a little bit, and like I said, at least to the next 4 years, where we can get ourselves out this mess, then it could be something that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? That might be something that in the initial wave, like if the conservatives and Donald Trump does get into office, some of the rules that restrict us from doing stuff, they will start to open up, right? Um, hey, if I gotta grow some stuff in the backyard, some veggies, so I can eat,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, yes.
you gotta do that.
You
And if
got
you
to do
gotta
what
make
you
it
got
a
to do.
community thing, I don't mind turning the park into some kind of farm or something. You gotta do
Yes,
what you gotta do,
that's very
you know.
true.
And I think both of the cities that we live in, they allow you to have some chickens,
Mm.
or you know what I
Well,
mean. Or
see, that's information I don't know, so I'm glad you said something
I
like
know
that.
my
Because
city,
I
definitely
mean,
allows you to have, I think up to like 10 chickens.
oh wow,
Yeah, in the backyard. You know what?
yes, sir.
And I just heard somebody in Chicago, the city. I didn't think they would allow you to have uh, chickens in Chicago, but I heard that my friend's mother, she grows chickens in her backyard, and she lives in the city. So I'm not sure if she doing that illegally or whether they will allow you to do that. But hey,
And maybe that's another thing where we have to find out some of these, and it's a lot of within every different city and state, and of course, and all that. It's some of these rules that a lot of us don't know. We don't have the time um, to figure out every little rule that they have. And I think something that may be needed to get put together, and it could be on a national scale, and they have, section one, section different states. You know what I'm saying? That they would take care of, but that's something that has to be getting out to the people, because that's the main thing, that information. Because see, like I said, like you was just talking about Chicago with 10 chickens, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
So this is all new to me, you know. And maybe some groups need to be put out there like that, so that we can have something like that just in case we're
Yeah,
gonna be in need of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that information is
Self-sufficiency.
a powerful thing.
Yeah, self-sufficiency is always good. You know, um, I would hope that even if you do decide to grow food on your own, I hope it doesn't come to that point.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But it's nothing wrong with doing a little prepping.
yeah,
You know,
I agree.
and that's kind of like I don't know, a red flag for me too.
Why
When
is
you
that?
see a lot of people prepping, that's what people expect. And
Mhm.
sometimes when people expect to do things, they will make it happen.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So they people have been prepping for a long time, doing different, So that's telling me at least a group of people are expecting some bad stuff to happen. And this is not just poor people prepping. These are millionaires prepping. These are that's just a way of thinking. You know, I think that if you're prepared, you definitely have more chance of survival than if you don't. I would get a gun.
Okay, okay.
You know what I mean?
So how, like within, like with the community groups that you were talking about, that you talk with, you know, do they push the people different things of prepping, and bringing information that possibly everybody in the city or the neighborhood don't know? Do they do things such as that, and not just a neighborhood meeting, but more things like newsletters to the neighborhoods or any of that sort?
No, I haven't seen anything like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe there's something that the next time you get the chance to talk with them, that's something that you can push, because that's something that's possibly needed.
Hmm.
Where, hey, you knew about the chickens and all that. Your neighbors probably have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then on that same fact, some of these things that because you get certain people, they don't pay attention to the whole spectrum of things. They may only pay attention to, which is nothing wrong with it, but they may only pay attention to the like entertainment things in life. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, not at all. But you lose out on knowledge that you may need if it come back and get you.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. 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 And they definitely erasing the knowledge that should be readily available in the neighborhood.
yes,
How to do stuff,
right,
right? How to grow stuff, how to fix stuff. They don't have any kind of community college courses on how to build, how to weld. I mean, they have some on welding, I guess, but not like they used to, right? They don't have a lot of courses that you can take. I think right now, if you want to get into some kind of trade like that, you got to go to a trade school. You got to go through a trade school. Um,
So with some of these
it's
community groups, would they push something like that to the people to let them know, hey, this is what you need to do? This, you know, that's around within your neighborhood is what I'm asking.
yeah, yeah, I guess I mean they could push it. I think that if people start getting worried about, um, uh, food, you know what I mean? They're going to be pushing it harder.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you that people are already thinking about it. More people are growing things than probably ever since COVID, so they know bad things can happen. They know how fast food can run out. You go to any grocery store during that time, you know that food can run out, you know. Um, so yeah,
So
yeah.
so because I did push this with you, but I gotta ask you, even though I mentioned it, you know, if the Democrats win, all right, do you believe they should go ahead and push, like I said, for these reparation bills, or even bring back affirmative action? Since the Supreme Court had taken it out, because we all know, yeah, okay, the Supreme Court taking it out, but then yet the Senate could bring a lot of these things back.
Hmm.
So, what do you feel?
Um, I definitely think that affirmative action should come back. I think that you know they should have a voting rights act, so they can't do the gerrymandering in these states. Um, and I think they should strengthen the Civil Rights Act. Um, reparations, they have to
Is
tell
it
me
is
what
it a,
form that would take. You know what I mean? What form of reparations that would take? Uh,
as
like
of what?
like how much? Uh,
And that's one of their biggest claims, that we don't, as a country, have the money. What's your feeling with that?
we don't have the money to
That's
do
that's one of their
that. Is
claims. That's one
impossible.
of their
That's
claims.
impossible. We got money for everything.
Everything
We got
else.
money for
So
everything.
I just wanted to hear what you felt, because I
Eh,
feel the same way on that one.
you know what? And they'll probably throw like a number that sounds big, and they say, "Oh yeah, to give reparations to everybody, it will probably be like $24 billion or something like that, right?"
Mhm.
And then you find out that they spent $24 billion on one airplane. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I agree. I
yeah.
agree.
So I think that they would have to definitely. I don't know if I'm for like giving money to people.
Okay,
You
what you
know,
mean?
like okay, so with the system that we living in right now, if you gave money to people, they would definitely throw it right back into the system, and then that money would be gone, boom, just like that, right?
Hmm.
Now I'm not saying that would happen with everybody, but a lot of that money would go right back into the system that is not working for us right now, so we will be in the same place.
Okay, so what if they were not? Let's hypothetically say, okay, everybody, reparations, we're gonna give you $2 million. All right, instead
Per
of,
family or per person.
or whatever,
Okay.
whichever way.
Okay.
Now, instead of giving it to you all in one lump sum, what if they were to give you quarterly stipends
Quarterly stipends of
of that
$2
money?
million.
Yeah, of that money.
Yeah, that'll work.
But do you believe that they'll just throw it right back in the system with, on
I,
that level,
I
or
do.
you
I
do?
do. I do. I mean, I'm not gonna turn away money. So
I
if they
mean,
willing to do
nah,
it,
you
I'm
go
gonna, I'm gonna take that.
brother do
Whatever.
need it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I'm not saying no to that, but
right.
I do think that a lot of people um, they don't know what to do with money. They're
There's
definitely
always been talk of, and I mean to cut you, but there's always been talk of, you know, giving some of these financial literacy classes to
Mhm.
people, especially on that level. If that was to happen, that you would have to take that financial literacy type course and class to go ahead and get things on the ball. So would that be something that would be helpful for you know these reparations to happen?
Yeah, it might
Because
be.
it may prove that this individual will not waste their money.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm sorry I said that just now.
I mean,
I mean,
a
because
lot of that's true though.
yeah, but you know what? Depending on you and me and everybody else out there that might be getting this potentially $2 million per quarter, whatever, right?
I was
So
just giving the guess, man.
it's a lot of different ways you can make money grow for yourself, right?
Correct.
And maybe you don't even want the money to grow for yourself. Maybe you just want to have fun.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
you're
I
gonna
can't,
get
I
those
can't,
folks
I
that'll
can't.
do it,
Yeah,
man.
I can't talk to, you know, but I'm just saying that a lot of the money, even though if people might want to keep it, it will go back into the system that will put us in the same situation. Now, I would like to avoid that. You know, I would rather that money, if anything, goes into to you know institutions that we trust, grammar schools, preschools. I would like them to have, in some of the poor communities, the best schools that they can put with the best teachers and you know the best resources. I think that will help us out in the long run. If we can get that going from preschool to college, in a couple of generations, we will be good, I think.
All right. All right. Well, everybody, we coming up against the time, but check it out. This is what I want y'all to do because I want y'all to keep these thoughts going, this conversation going, because it's real. We have to figure out what are we going to do the day after, because, like I said in the beginning, that's just the beginning. Once you get your voting done and all that, you got to figure out where you're going to take things, not only for yourself, not only for your family, your friends, but this country as a whole. Okay, so let's keep this conversation going. You can always comment on our Facebook page, and always you can hit us up through the email. That's the triple threat of radio at gmail.com. Once again, that is the triple threat of radio at gmail.com. And hey, we can keep it going, and then we can build something out of this. All right. I'm your boy Abdul Rashid. That's the man, Timothy Evans.
All right.
And the boss man, Mike B, will be back next week. Happy anniversary to you, bro. Hey,
Peace.
this is Elevated Vibes. Catch y'all next week. Peace.